In school you learned something about facts and opinions, did you? What's the difference? Fact is a fact. Huh? Something? Something that what do you? No, that is the opinion. Opinion is somebody's opinion. What he thinks about it, how he feels about it. But you cannot measure it. And you cannot repeat the measurement tomorrow and it will also give you the same answer. That's a fact, a scientific fact. You can do the maths, you will see. It's a fact, you cannot change it. On top of that, we started to do objective, subjective. It's the same thing. A fact is, an objective is when you are reporting facts. We had that example of young people are using so many hours on social media and that's it. They counted it, they did some maths and they reported it. It's objective. And the other one, subjective, will be what? I'm going to show you now that we are going just to hire more difficult words every time, but it's the same thing, to make it easier for you. So subjective is like opinions. So objective is like facts, subjective is like opinions. Emotional, trying to persuade you, and also just is the way he feels. He is for something or against something. Now, I can't give you the page right now. We are in page 118. That was where we were talking the purpose of the message. And then, page the next one, 120. There they start with objective and subjective language. Okay. On the page just before, there were the guy with the sunglasses. He was reporting his sunglasses stolen. And he talked in a certain way to the police. Did we do that one? 119. Did we do that one yesterday? No. Okay. He talked in 3 different ways. To the police, or to his friend, or to his friend's mother. She's somewhere in between. The police, when he talks to the police, telling his sunglasses is stolen, he's going to talk to really factual, describing it, and use formal language. When he talks to his pal, he's emotional. He says, I paid, number 3 there, the orange stripe, you will see. My Zungle Panthers, you know, the ones I paid Malingi Mula for last month. He's using slang words that only his friend will understand, half sentences and so on. And he can also say, I'm sure it's that idiot of a waiter that zapped them. He even points fingers. But when he talks to the police, he cannot say that. He must say, I suspect maybe it was the waiter when I was sitting at the restaurant. After that, it was gone. But he's describing the sunglasses, talking formal language. And to his friend's mother, he will talk somewhere in between. Not the slang words he uses to his friends, because us older people do not understand them. You know, every group has their own slang to understand. So he talks kind of halfway between the formality that he uses when he talks to the police and the real informal slang language that he talks to his friend. That is where he talks with his friend's mother. And that is called the register. He's talking English all the time, but he uses another register. So please make a line there around the word register. That is what a register is. We're going to talk later, again use the word register when we are talking in advertisements and so on. Then you must know what the word means. Okay, so 120, page 120. We are going to talk about registers, tone and style of emotional. Okay, so that is the next big words you will get. Emotional or persuasive communication versus rational communication. So the first one also is, I must have put them in a table. It must be better. Eh? You can see facts, objective, rational. They are the same. Now the other ones are the emotional, trying to persuade you, subjective type of language. Now I must put it in a table, then it's more in blocks. You can see. And then later on we will go to this bigger words. Ethical rhetoric, yeah, it is now, versus manipulative reporting and propaganda. What does ethical mean? If it is ethical, you are doing things in what way? In the right way. Unethical, and the wrong way. You will know when you are doing wrong things. You will feel bad. Immoral, illegal, these things are unethical. Of course you learned from your parents and from your grandparents and from the church. You learned what is right and wrong. Yeah, those are the ethical things. And if you do the wrong things, it is unethical. It's kind of illegal. There's a code of ethics for your studies. If you rewrite her task and hand it in as your own, it is unethical. That is where ethics, every job has its ethical code. So that is what ethical rhetoric means. Okay, we will, big words, we will get to the big words now. Rhetoric is a word that we are going to learn now. So, ethical rhetoric, doing things, holding a speech, a type of speech in the right way, versus the other one, again, is the subjective and opinions one, manipulative report, trying to manipulate you, and even propaganda. We'll get to that. Right, there's what rhetoric is. They went into the big words very fast. Rhetoric is at the bottom of your page 120. Registered tone and style of emotional or persuasive versus rational communication. So we are now with this rational communication, trying to see what is the correct ways, and later we will see the more dangerous ways. So these are things that are used in speeches. And many times, political speeches. If we listen, that's mostly the speeches one would listen to. But you can really listen to lots of speeches. There is what is that called? A movement called TEDx. If you've ever seen any videos, there are lots of just interesting things they do speeches about. TED Talks. TEDx Cairo, TEDx Johannesburg, TEDx Cape Town. They just have a symposium where lots of people come and speak, and they talk about many different things. And they also use this kind of rhetoric in their talks. Okay, so what would people use in a speech? Well-known sayings of well-known people. Maybe when you start your speech, you will say, Mandela said that, or Gandhi said that, or Mother Teresa said that, and it gives credibility to your speech, makes you come over stronger because you are taking hands with a big man that everyone respects, and I don't know what I wanted to say, but using a quotation from great people gives credibility to your speech. Repetition, something else that they do is repeat words, like we saw in that subjective one about the hours spent on social media. This one sitting doing Facebook right under my nose. The one we talked about, the subjective talk about social media, they said, you don't spend time on your academics. You don't go to your friends. You don't go out to do sports. Saying the same thing 3 times, just using a different word, just putting a different word in each one. It's making your speech stronger, gives it a nice power. Rhetorical questions. You learned in school what a rhetorical question is. See, it's the same word. Rhetoric is all the things that you can find in a speech. Rhetorical questions is one of the things inside. It sounds the same, but what is a rhetorical question? What did you learn in school? A question where you said, You don't expect an answer because this. What did they use as an example in school? I can only remember one. My whole life they used the same one. I wonder if maybe you can give me another one. You can't remember. I just had was this one. Can a mother forget her child? I think it's from the Bible actually. Can a mother forget her child? Of course not. So you don't expect an answer. And they say, it makes you think, and it makes you even feel guilty sometimes the way they ask these questions. Then figurative comparisons. Comparisons, yeah, it's there on the thing. Simile or a metaphor. Can you remember what those are? Figurative speech that we had in grammar in school. What was figures of speech? Comparisons, when you compare something to something else. Huh? Comparing a dead thing to a living thing. Yeah, that's another word. That was another one, but it will also fit in this. Okay? I'll get to that. Yeah, that one was personification. Yeah. Okay, and they can use it. If it works, if it's necessary for their speak, use personification. Now that one is a simile or a metaphor. A simile is when you say something is similar to something else. He is like a tortoise. That one is a simile. You say a person is very slow. He's like a tortoise. Huh? Yes, slow as a tortoise. Then it is a simile. But if you just leave as and as out, he is a tortoise. Other one, that is a metaphor. And then you can say, oh, the tortoise is coming up here. Everyone who's late for my class, walking so slow, they are all slow like tortoises or snails, or what would we say? That's a metaphor. So all those kind of figurative comparisons, figures of speech. And next one is emotive words. Some emotional word. We said you are wasting so many precious hours on social media. Those precious, that word. If you put it in there immediately, you're not only thinking about hours, you think about, oh, the hours are so precious, they fly by and I can never get them back, and now I wasted them. So it makes you feel bad. It's emotional, that word. I was saying about when the house burned down, they came to talk to the shocked owner. They put shocked in there. So those are emotional words, emotive words. So if I say emotive, it sounds like emotion. Do you understand? Do you remember that? Okay. Write it in your book if it's funny. And then the next one, euphemism, stating an unpleasant fact in a gentle way. Don't say the person died, you said, he kicked the bucket. No, that's even worse. That's unsensitive. No, more sensitive. Like, he passed away. Or maybe one political guy want to say the leader of the opposition party was working very economical with the truth. But he actually wanted to say what? That's more stronger. He doesn't want to really say straight away, he thinks that guy is lying. So he's working economically with the truth. They can be very creative, these guys, with words, using words like that. Okay, then, telling a story, it's not here, but that is one example you will see now when we read the speech of this girl, Malala. And the tone is assertive and sometimes emotional. So assertiveness means if you say, I will do this, not I will think about it, or maybe I think so, or maybe if I get support, or we will talk to people, or whatever. Assertive is I will. So there's a fine line separating this, what we call ethical rhetoric, with manipulative reporting. Manipulative reporting comes on the the next 2 pages. But first, I said what bias is. There's bias in this manipulative reporting. Someone who only sees his part of the thing and he wants to change everybody, but it's actually like lying. Because he only uses certain facts and half of this picture and only uses the things that suits him. And the other he ignores. Sorry, what did you say? I cannot hear. No, it said the same thing. All right. Now I want to tell you as quick as I can the story about Malala, because we are going to read her speech and see how it can be used in a good way. All these things, I don't say it's bad, I say it's ways of making your speech stronger. So if you are going to have a speech, by all means, use those things. It's going to make your speech interesting, nice to listen to, and let your points come over stronger and so on. It's not wrong to use it. It's ethical rhetoric in the right way. Let me tell you about Malala's story before we read her speech, because else you won't understand all of it. In Muslim countries, when it is a real strict Muslim country, women may not study. Since they are very small, a girl may not, they are not admitted to schools, they don't learn to read and write, they don't learn to do anything, they can never do a job on their own, they cannot even go out of their house without a close male relative going with them, like their brother, father, husband, or adult son must go with them. If they are raped, then she must bring 2 other men to come and substantiate her story, and the chance that she will get that is 0. When she's growing up, like 12 years old or so, another adult man will come to her father and say, "Oh, your daughter looks like she's growing up nicely, I want her." And she's given in marriage to a man that she doesn't approve of. She never knew him. Maybe he's in his 40s, he has 3 other wives, she's just the next one. And she becomes a sex slave. That's what she's becoming. So what kind of a life is that from A to Z, eh? And this is what happened. Well, some countries are more strict than others. I think in Pakistan, where this girl comes from, it was kind of a mixture. You know, it's not supported, or they didn't give money to build schools because it's not important, but there are schools where girls do go. But this girl was an activist. She was speaking about it, and her father supported her. She thanked him later when she won the Nobel Prize for Peace. She thanked him in this speech. We will only read half of the speech because it's a long speech. But there are countries where it is really, really strict. Like when America now withdrew from Afghanistan, the Taliban took over. And they brought Afghanistan back to the Middle Ages. They immediately prohibited all girls from going to school. If you were at university, sorry for you, it's closed, sit at home. Now you are going to follow the old rules again. So when this girl was 15 years old, they came and they shot her. Shot her right through the head. In here, right through here, and it lodged there. She was in a coma for 10 days, but she survived. And after that, she has a degree. She furthered her studies. She finished her studies, and she's speaking all over. And it's the next year. She was 15 years old when she was shot. When she was 16 years old, this was her acceptance speech when she won the Nobel Prize for Peace. The same prize that, there was some damage to her brain, her facial nerve. She had long operations. She has an implant for her to help her hear again. I don't know if it's only 1 year, but she had a lot of damage, but she survived. It's not everyone who could survive that. They came to the school bus and they just told all the girls, "Which one of you is Malala? Or else we shoot you all." And they were wounded in front of the others, but they shot her. So let's read her her speech, and she's using all of this rhetoric things. There's a picture of her. Also see one in the book. Okay, there's the. She starts telling us by telling a story. One of my very good school friends, the same age as me, who had always been a bold and confident girl, dreamed of becoming a doctor. But her dream remained a dream. At the age of 12, she was forced to get married, and then soon she had a son. She had a child when she herself was still a child. Only 14. I know that she could have been a very good doctor, but she couldn't because she was a girl. Her story is why I dedicate the Nobel Peace Prize money in the Malala Fund to help give girls quality education everywhere, anywhere in the world. She uses everywhere, anywhere. So when you win the Nobel Prize, there's one for mathematics, one for science, one for medical. When you win the prize, you win money as well. So she gave it immediately to build a secondary school for girls in her area where she grew up. The first place this funding will go to is where my heart is. To build schools in Pakistan, especially in my home of Swat and Shangla. In my own village, there is still no secondary school for girls. This is where I will begin. I will begin, not I will think. Notes that I must to your.
Yeah, I know they are.
Okay, you can.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay.
So she uses assertive language. She doesn't say, well, I'll see what I can do or I will try. She says, this is where I will begin. But it is not where I will stop. I will continue this fight. Listen, quiet. I will continue this fight until I see every child in school. So it's a very assertive tone. We have already taken many steps. Now it's time to take a leap. See what she does. We've taken many steps, but now it's time to take a leap. She intensifies what she's saying right there. We ask the world leaders to unite and make education their top priority. Leaders must seize this opportunity to guarantee a free, quality, primary and secondary education to every child. Some will say this is impractical. This is building up again. Those will say it's impractical, or too expensive, or too hard, or maybe even impossible. So she builds it up, what she says. But it is time the world thinks bigger. Dear sisters and brothers, the so-called world of adults may understand it, but we children don't. So she says, the so-called world of adults. So-called is an emotional word. So she says, the world of adults understand it, but really, are they adults then? They are so-called adults. They don't understand things that are so important. But we children, they may understand how they can not, but okay. But we children don't. That's the other way, said the other way around. Why is it that countries which we call strong are so powerful in creating wars, but are so weak in bringing peace? Why is it that giving guns is so easy, but giving books is so hard? Why is it that making tanks is so easy, but building schools is so hard? Now it really hits home, eh? We are living in the modern age and we believe that nothing is impossible. We reached the moon 45 years ago, and maybe we will soon land on Mars. Then, in this 21st century, we must be able to give every child quality education. Dear sisters and brothers, dear fellow children, we must work, not wait. You remember alliteration in school? two words that start with the same letter. Work, not wait. Not just the politicians and the world leaders. We all need to contribute. Me, you, we must. It is our duty. Let us become the first generation that decides to be the last that sees empty classrooms, lost childhoods, and wasted potentials. Emotional words. Empty classrooms, lost childhoods, wasted potentials. Let this be the last time that a girl or a boy spends their childhood in a factory. They still have child labor there. Let this be the last time that a girl is forced into early child marriage. Let this be the last time that we see a child out of school. Let this end with us. Let's begin this ending together, today, right here, right now. Let's begin this ending now. So she's making an interesting juxtaposition is the big word. Begin and end. We will begin this ending now. And she's using the repetition at the end. Let this be, let this be, let this be. It's a very strong speech, eh? 16 years old, after a year of intense trauma, and this was her acceptance speech when she won the Nobel Prize, Peace Prize. So what did you say? Is it a persuasive speech? Do you think someone will be persuaded to do something? It even persuades us to just think how important it is for us to be educated. Education, no one can take away your education. That's the one thing. Even if they burn your certificates, it's okay. I have it in my head. I can do it. And if you don't have, you don't have any way to help yourself. You are just a victim if you don't have proper education. Now, yeah. So this was a good example of a good use, ethical use of rhetoric in a persuasive speech. Okay, now we must go to the old negative things because we still need to be warned and keep our eyes open for those things. At the bottom of 121, techniques. They use, now let's read manipulative reporting. It's also known as selective reporting. They only report certain things that suits them, or biased reporting. This refers to a process where a newspaper, website, radio, or TV station reports the news in such a way that the audience perceives the information either negatively or positively. They want you to see it a certain way because they have a plan. The mass media usually claim that they report objectively and without taking sides. However, this is not always the case. Did I show you this about bias? Bias is, we will get the word, so you must understand what it is. It is an opinion, favorable or unfavorable. So the person is for something or against something. Reflected by the types of events and stories presented in the media. So they will only report about something, whether by a particular source or by the media industry as a whole. Okay, this is not so easy. Let's see the next one. It helps more. Examples of bias. Leave the confirmation. I don't know what it's doing there. Examples of bias. Not seeking out objective facts. Only using some facts that suit you. Interpreting information to support your existing belief. Only remembering details that uphold your belief. The rest you conveniently forget about. Ignoring information that challenges your belief. So if you are biased, you will report in this way. Manipulative. Let's go back to that. Right. So the techniques they use are, using emotive language or subjective style deliberately. Using euphemisms like he was economical with the truth instead of he was lying. Okay, euphemisms. Using vague language. Using the vague language, it is believed. Who believes it? Who counted those people? Who asked? How many did they ask? Unconfirmed reports say. Who's that? unidentified sources say? Don't they want to come to the fore and have their names? They are like anonymous. They don't have the boldness to say who they are and want to say their thing. Oh, unconfirmed sources, they're hiding behind vague words. And they want us to believe. How many sources? How strong is that feeling for that side? And this is the questions you can ask. Reporting selectively, page 122. At the top of those green soldier pictures, we are going up to the soldiers there. Then we'll. Okay. Reporting selectively by giving only part of the information, giving only one person's point of view on a controversial issue. The next one, quoting passages out of context. Somebody said the whole thing, but they only use those few words and leave the rest. So you are misleading, misled. That person did not say that or only that. Because if you leave out the rest, the meaning is going wrong. Confusing or incorrect statistics. Read the example. 3,400 more robberies occurred in our town last year, whereas other cities had an increase of less than 1%. No, you don't know. 3,400 more robberies than when? And an increase of 1% over what? We don't know. So the 3,400 sounds so big, and the one sounds small. So that's what they want you. This kind of a misleading way of saying things. You must compare real numbers with real numbers. Say 3,400 robberies more than the previous year in this area. The other area only had so many compared to so many. Not numbers and percentages. It's a confusing thing. Okay, then we go to those photographs. Where they misuse photographs to give a certain slant on a picture. Sometimes you go into Photoshop and add new things to a photograph and they are really just lying. Sometimes they cut out a piece and only show a part. And okay, this photograph in the middle is of soldiers. They captured an enemy soldier. You can see that he's wearing a different uniform from the rest. But you can see two things are happening there. The first is, okay, someone is standing with a gun against his head, because if he doesn't do that, the guy will jump up and try to escape. So that's the way it has to be done. We don't like to see that, but okay, this is how the soldier business works. There's nothing romantic about being shot and all of those things. And on the other side, there is a person showing humanity and giving him some water. So it's a whole thing going on there, but it shows you the whole picture. If you only see the soldier having a gun against the other one's head, you will say, oh, these soldiers are really you were cold-blooded executioners. Why can they be like that? And on the other side, if you only see the man giving the water, say, oh, they are so soft against the enemy, they even are looking too well after them. But if you look at the whole picture in the middle, it's an objective picture. It shows all sides to the story. Okay, we can look at activity 5.9, see if we can answer that quickly. What kind of reporting? All of those things are used in Facebook may die out like an infectious disease by 2017. The Minister of Communication. What kind of reporting is it? He said, like an infectious disease. Let me help you a little. What's that? It is like something else. So he used simile. Comparison, yeah. He compared it, a figurative comparison. And if he says, like an infectious disease, what does he think of Facebook? It's a disease, infectious disease. Do you think he likes Facebook? No, he thinks Facebook is bad. And yeah, they say also it's reporting selectively. Only maybe he had a whole speech and they only took out a little word. Okay, the second one, hospital lets go of brain dead pregnant woman. First we must understand what they say because we don't have idea. Okay, it's a woman who's pregnant, she's in hospital, she's brain dead, which means only machines are keeping her alive now. If they say they let go of her, what does that mean? They leave her to die, switch off the machines so that she can die. So this is a what kind of way? A euphemism. Yeah, they say it in a softer way. 9 out of 10 dentists recommend bright toothpaste. Did they only ask 10 dentists, or did they ask? Did they do a proper research and 90% answered? Do we know? Did they only ask 10? We don't know. So it's statistics. More research is needed. Okay, the next one. One big bloody mess. If you see that on the newspaper, what's that? One big bloody mess. Or on the internet. They want you to click on that, eh? Clickbait. A sensationalist. Too little information. You don't know what this is about. The last one. What kind of world are we leaving to our children? It's a rhetorical question, and it's meant to make us feel bad. Because what kind of world are we leaving to our children? So immediately you feel guilty because you are part of it. You are implicated in this. So this is vague, makes us feel blame. It's emotive language, and it's a rhetorical question. Okay, thanks. Next, we go to propaganda.